Taking a look at Alli James here in lane 7, swimming the 200 IM. I'm not going to play the whole race straight through to start the video because you're not in the frame the whole time, and so I'm going to go and pick out the pieces that you are in, and we're going to take a look at them and go back and break them down. So let me start here with the start. Okay. So I like that your feet are set. You're in a good ready position before the starter has you take your mark. You have your hips high. Your head position is good. Your arms are relaxed. I'd like to see you square out your hips a little bit so your right hip isn't quite so high. And it looks like your thumb isn't together. I'd like all your fingers together. Your fingers being together takes out the tension of your forearms. You'll notice if you open your hand, your arm's a little more tense than if you just had a closed hand. All fingers together, I mean. So, yeah, we can bring those fingers together, pretty easy fix. Buzzer goes off here. Your arms seem to engage the blocks somewhat, which is good. Legs are the first thing to react. You do a nice job getting into a streamlined position very quickly. Head's tight, legs are together as you enter. Pretty clean entry there on the start. And we break out here. Notice right here before you break out, your eyes are looking straight forward before you take this first stroke, and then you don't even breathe. So it's very peculiar. Like you're looking up to take this stroke, and then you adjust your head position again there, and then you'll take your first breath on the third stroke, I believe. I could be wrong. No. There's the first breath. So, yeah, I really don't know why you held your, why you put your head up like that. Putting your head up causes your hips to drop, and it puts you kind of an awkward position right before you break out. Okay, but looking at the stroke itself, here when you're fresh, your arms do a nice job of hitting the water in front of your shoulders. Your hips are doing a nice job of riding up. I would like to take a look at your head here, though. Notice with each stroke coming down, you're dunking your head way underwater, which is part of the reason why your hips are doing such a nice job coming up. But what we have to do is keep our upper body flat on top of that water and roll the hips so that they pop up at the surface. It's not the hips are coming up because we're diving down with the upper body. Okay, so fast forward here just a hair. Okay, now as you start to get a little fatigued here in the second half of the fly, you'll notice that your arms begin to take the stroke a little wider. All right, so what we want to do is make sure we come across the water and we hit the water, we hit the water in front of our shoulders every time. We have to really work on that strength of the shoulders and stay committed to that. It's only a 50, and this is going to be the same in your 100 fly if you swim that. All right, really big issue that was on your fly and on this was your open turn. So here we get a good look at it. As you're coming into the turn here, you touch them the wall, you're coming up, basically saying hi to the ref, and then you're coming up high, doing it's really slow. We need to touch, bounce off the wall. We never, you're coming in with your hands together, close together, looking up like that. I mean, it's really, we got a lot of fine tuning to do on the turn there. Moving into backstroke. I'd like to see a little more aggressive on the legs. You have a nice tempo with the arms, but the legs aren't quite there. And we don't get to see a flip turn. All right, so fast forwarding a little bit. There you are again. So, hand does a nice job coming out by the hip with the thumb, entering above the hand with the pinky, taking a deep stroke. Make sure, though, on this stroke that, let's back up one more stroke. So make sure on the stroke that you're rotating, I think we can rotate just a hair more, in that you have a bent arm and you're pulling straight down, kind of closer to your body as opposed to having that straight arm going towards the bottom of the pool. All right, we'll fast forward again. Okay, here we are in breaststroke. So, it looks like we're only going to look at a few strokes here. Okay, so, let's back up more. Alright, so, doing a nice job sweeping in, but I think you're sweeping in too low. So look, your arms, your elbows are basically as if your arms are at your side, so your elbows are down there, kind of towards your midsection. We don't need to sweep down quite that low in breaststroke. We really want to keep things in front of us. You're coming up really, really high to take this breath. We don't need to rise up quite that high. We need to be, again, the arms in front of us, rising above the water just enough to get the breath, but we don't need to come up so high that like your chest is getting air. And if we can look at the timing of the kick here, yeah, pretty good timing on the kick. You want to, as your arms are extending, take that kick. I think you can have a little narrow, your knees closer together. Let's see if we can look at the breaststroke over here. All right, good. So, well, the lane line's kind of blocking it, but ideally your legs are a little bit closer together. Think about when we do any kind of breaststroke with a pull buoy in between our legs. That's really an exaggeration of how close you want them, but do think about having your legs closer together on that kick. On breaststroke, main point of emphasis is having quick heels, really quick kick. And here, while the timing of the kick is good, I think that we can improve the strength and the power of the kick a little more. Okay, moving on to freestyle. All right, here we go. Yeah, so this is what I've been talking to you about practice. This is a really good angle to show you. So you see here, you're coming in, the arm is now in front of the head, and then you're hitting with your arm sideways as if you're coming in like a karate chop with your thumb. So it's a really awkward angle to be entering the water in. Number one, you're crossing your midline. So like there's a line that goes up and down the middle of your body, like through your nose. And you're into the water with your hand past that line, you've now thrown off the balance of your stroke. And so you're pushing it right here, coming in really close to that line, if not passing it. You're also entering with your arm all the way turned to the side. Obviously, you can't pull with your arm sideways like that. So once you enter there, you're making a correction to move your arm out towards the shoulder and then rotating the arm in order to pull the water back behind you. So we have a lot of micro correcting that you're doing within the stroke because you are entering the water at this weird angle to start it. Okay, and let's see if we get any of you at the end here. Here we go. Good news is this is actually a pretty clean entry. It seems like you're taking a smooth stroke, flicking the water out by the hips. You had a steady kick throughout the freestyle, so all that's good. All in all, a good race.